Hi, and welcome to Glitch 2600. Who am I? Well, I'm Brian, aka Glitch, your friendly host through all things geekery. And what is geekery? Well, geekery are those fun electronic toys you like to play with that I also like to play with: computers, photography, videography, security, wireless, phones, all that fun stuff. That's what I'm here to tell to you about and help you with. And today you're here for a Glitch Byte, part of Vlogmas 2020. And if you don't know what Vlogmas 2020 is, well, go back to day one in our playlist. But basically, it's a way for us content creators to go live or create something new for you every day in December. I plan on going all the way through the 31st. And a Glitch Byte is a technology tip that you can digest in under 15 minutes. And today we're going to talk more about Ecamm. We did a little bit about Ecamm the other day with timers, and there's so many areas to cover in Ecamm, but a lot of questions come up. People start in. It's a very simple to use software. The key and the power of it is how simple it is, but it can also be very powerful, and you can get into some intricacies on it. So a lot of times people don't understand when they're running multiple shows. You might think of your own show and think of it that way, and you just look down the side and see in your scenes. And a scene is what you tag your camera to, what you tie your audio to, your overlays. I mean, you can have overlays that go across everything, but in general, your scene is each one of those. It's each look you want to have. So for me, this is a scene. That is a scene. Medium is a scene. That's a scene. Heck, even that's a scene. My countdown timer. All of that. If I want to screen share, that's a scene. Each of these is a scene. And I can work my way through it and have a different show or show flow. But what if you have different styles of shows? Well, then you can put those in there and organize those. What if you had those and had those readily available? For me, I work on a few different shows. So I do one for wine styles and beer styles, where we cover a lot of different beer and wine, and I'm just producing it. I'm not actually on those. And then I have my own shows where I'm here doing a Glitch Byte, or I'm doing a Glitch MegaByte, or I'm doing a Geek Out, or I might be doing our happy hours. So I have those shows, and then I have my kids' shows that want to do their own. So that's where I can organize those a little bit farther using folders and the export capability. So let's talk on that and let's show it. So what better way than to go into live demo mode? It's going to warn me and say, hey, do you want to be in live demo mode? And you can see my messy desktop and all that fun stuff. But you look along the left-hand side here where I'm hovering, there's folders. You can create folders for your stuff, and you can make folders within subfolders. Look, down in my overlays here on the side over there, you'll see where I have logos. So I have all my logos. If I want to turn that logo on, if I want to turn this logo on, heck, that logo, which is not going to look that great in that scene. My subscribe logo. And each of these. The two when I was first coming on. Other ones that I have, my beers one, also organized. And inside there's beer descriptions, there's Untapped, there's all sorts of different ones. And then you'll notice under home, I have the one for my daughter. I have wine styles and beer styles for that. Same as up top. So scenes allow me to do that. I can break this up and have a whole different show. But let's say I want to make that. So at any time, if I want to, all I have to do is hit this folder icon. If I create this folder icon, I can make, even inside of my current one, subfolders like a test folder. So if I said this test, I could duplicate something and put that in there and have that have different settings inside of it. So if I were to take this copy, which has snow, built into it, I can take that all the way down here to my test, drop it in there, maybe. Better if I actually drop it down. So if I take it and drag it, and because I'm there we go. Now it's inside a test. So if I were to click it, we'd have snow with a timer, because I already had a timer on there from the last show. So let's actually delete that one. Now we have our snow one. Now I could have that and have that be a timer and have different ones in there. But let's say I want to bring that out or have a copy of it. Let's say I don't want it in there all the time. I only want it once in a while. This is my workout one, or this is my education series. You'll notice under here, I have one called education or save. If I didn't want to keep them there in the way that they are, I could just export them out. So let's take this one. And what's really cool is I can use this icon over here on the side right there, right next to the trash can. Don't click the trash can. One, this will allow you to duplicate. This will allow you to add. But if I hit this, I can export it. And the cool thing is I can put it on my desktop and call it test Ecamm and export. Now the really cool thing, now that I've done that and it's on my desktop, I can choose to remove this. So if I were to delete this, delete. It'll put me to my screen shares because that's the last one that's up there, but now it's gone. What do I want to do? Well, I could import a scene. I could go ahead and import anything in there and do it that way. If I were to click add, if I remember right, like I said, that'll make a new one. But I could just go to my desktop that I have over here. So we'll just go to desktop. Remember I made that test Ecamm. So if I were to take that and double click it, now we've got that test folder back. And if I clicked back on it, look, we're right back where we were. Now it didn't put it back in the folder where it was at because, well, I didn't export it there. I didn't export the whole folder. But if I wanted to, I just click and drag that right back up and it's in there. And there we go. We're right back to our test, right back to our snow overlay. And so I could rename that back for snow and have that for just this look. So maybe I want snow for this. There's some cool stuff in the beta, but that's its own other thing, and we'll talk about that another time. But that just shows the power that you have inside here, as it's now snowing on me, is that we can make these folders and make subfolders inside of it and export it and pull it out. So if you had different style shows, you could clean up along your left side. Now I will say if you're using stuff like your Stream Deck, it doesn't necessarily like when you pull that in and back out. You know, unless you have like names and like scenes, then it'll be okay, which is why I tend to keep my folders in there. But other shows, I do back them up for safety purposes. Let's say I want to move between computers. That's a good way to move between computers. Now, video files like this overlay will stay in there, but if I was to link in and say, instead go up here under overlays, and instead of a normal overlay, if I were to bring it in as a video instead of an animated overlay, you know, like it is right here, instead of doing that, if I were to bring it in as a video, then it would say, hey, I need to relink to your video. This one it stores with the scene and I'm able to move it between computers. And that's really nice because you don't, as a side extra tip, you can install Ecamm on 2 or 3 computers and use their NDI function, their network display interface, their network capability to bring in another computer into your screen without using wires. You can do that. You can only go live on one computer as part of your license at a time, unless you buy additional licenses, which if you're doing live for multiple computers and doing that, then you should definitely pay for that. Otherwise, the twins, the guys, did a really good job of saying, hey, when you are just using it for, you know, a second computer over here, we're going to let you do that as long as you're only going live from one computer at a time. So with that, you can export your scenes from one to the other and have a like look and feel, which I find to be extremely powerful. But with this, you can make subfolders upon subfolders. You can organize. You notice how I have my pips and interviews under one, so I keep a folder of it, but they're not in my main view over here because this is what I use the most. I use this look a lot because I bring up and will then have my logo show up. So I might hit this button here and have my logo and then put text and other things right there. You know, and I can hit that back and have it disappear. So I use this, like I actually don't use this one nearly as much, so I should take it out of my main rotation, but I have used the pano to put text down here at the bottom. So if I wanted to, I could go, hey, pop up whatever overlay. We'll do, heck, we'll do this one. The subscribe one. You should subscribe. I could pop that up down there. I normally pop it up on the main window, but I could pop it up there and say you should subscribe to us on YouTube if you found this to be useful. Otherwise, subscribe to us on Facebook if you found it to be semi-useful. But just showing what we can do with these folders to organize out our show and get it in a more positive flow and more organized for ourselves. If you don't use stuff a lot, but you don't want to get rid of it, you can put it in a folder and then you can export it and then bring it right back in. You can do the same thing with overlays. You can do the same thing with music. If we come down here, you'll see that I have my countdown, folder here, but I could also have other folders from my music, and I can do that throughout. So you can organize throughout all of Ecamm, and it's extremely powerful and extremely good, which is why we're going to exit out a live demo because you don't want to keep looking at all of my crap there. Hopefully now you just see me. But that was our quick little hit tip. We have some really cool other tips coming that deal with the soundboard and microphones, and I have a really cool photography one talking about aperture and shutter speed. We already talked about the exposure triangle, but we have some cool ways to calculate back and forth and do it quickly. So we'll be talking about that if that interests you. If it does, then you should go and subscribe and hit the little bell to be notified so that you know when we go live. Yes? No? Maybe? If you have a question on there and have something you want us to cover, please just comment on these videos and we will see that and bring that into another Glitch Byte. Otherwise, we had a great time. I hope you had a great time. I hope you learned something new. And if you did, come back again. We'll see you then. Otherwise, we'll catch you on the next Geek Out. And I had a great time, and we'll see you later. All right?